just go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for being here. This class is called Pinhole and Beyond. And I am Heather Palecek. I am going to be your educator today. I am from Trenton, New Jersey in the United States near New York City. I am a high school photography teacher and I run workshops. Of course, you're sitting in one right now. On top of being a teacher, I am a family portrait photographer where I work digitally. I am an exhibiting artist with my experimental photography, mostly pinhole, cyanotype, and lumen prints. I curate an event at a gallery near my hometown called Third Thursdays, and I'm the leader of the NJ Pinhole Club, which I started a year ago. We have 10 members locally that all participate with pinhole photography, and we have meetups. And most importantly for today, I want to tell you that I am just obsessed with pinhole photography. And the reasons why are because of the aesthetic quality and the characteristics of the photographs. I love the photographic experience itself, being able to be present in my environment without a camera pressed against my face as a barrier between myself and the world. That's how I feel when I do digital photography. Like I have this camera just right up to my head. So I love pinhole photography for that reason. Pinhole photography offers the ability to be experimental far beyond any other camera or photography medium, I believe. The community aspect of pinhole photography is incredible. If you meet a pinhole photographer on the street, you're like, oh my God, like you're a pinhole photographer too. And then you're instantly best friends. Pinhole photography has a really, really great community, both in person and online. And lastly, I love the spectrum of ways that you can be a pinhole photographer. You could be highly mathematical and incredibly detailed, or purely intuitive. And sometimes you're both at the same time. There is no wrong way to participate with pinhole photography. And I believe that there's such a freedom and a purity to that. So those are the reasons why I love pinhole photography. And I'm curious about all of you, if you have ever participated with pinhole photography before, if you're a pure beginner, maybe why you took this class, maybe you want some advanced techniques. So actually, you guys can continue to type into the chat box, and I've just switched my slide here to let you know what exactly we will be learning. I am going to start with the history of pinhole photography and what it is, which I think is important, especially for anyone who has never pursued pinhole photography, or maybe you know what pinhole photography is, but you don't quite understand the science of how it works. And then talk about briefly just why today. It's 2022. We're inundated with digital everything in our lives. Why are we using pinhole photography today? What is its importance? Talk about builds, different cameras, the techniques that you could employ to be a pinhole photographer. And then we're going to make a pinhole camera. I'm going to go over instructions for how to do so, demonstrate to you how to make a camera. And then after that, do quite a few slides actually of different composition ideas, how to create interesting images with your pinhole camera, really using it for what it's worth. And then going beyond the norm, using your intuition and getting experimental, introducing you to artists that have done things outside of the box that will hopefully inspire you to do the same. And I also want to let you know that after participating in all of the workshops from Wednesday until today, I've kind of switched the schedule a little bit. I think instead of all of us together making a camera in the middle at section 4, I will go over how to make a camera and demonstrate how to make one. And then even do kind of a show and tell where you can show me maybe the materials that you have brought today, and I can verbally go over a lot of the options that you have to make yours, but then we'll pause. I'll do section 5 and 6, and then those of you that want to sign off can sign off, and those of you that want to stay and make a pinhole camera, we can turn our cameras on, and I'll sit here with you and watch you and help you and answer your questions and be really hands-on. But in that way, if there's anyone here watching live in the audience, you don't have to have such a long break in the very middle of this workshop to watch everyone else make a camera when you yourself maybe aren't. So I thought that might be the best way to go about this today. So hopefully that works for you as well. And then let's go ahead and get started. So first, as I said, I'm going to do some history, and we're going to start out with the very basics of a camera obscura. So I want you to imagine with me that you're in a room, any room in your house, or you can visualize the one that's right in front of you on the screen. And imagine that you have made this room pitch black. So you have turned the lights off and you have dimmed the windows, so covered them in black. Obviously, the room would be completely blackened. You would not be able to see anything at all. But if you poked a small hole or cut a small hole in one of those windows, you could imagine that light would come through that hole, and that light would start illuminating the room. This visual here in front of you kind of looks like a flashlight. And that's true. The light is traveling in a straight line from the hole through the room. But it's not just going to illuminate the room as if a flashlight was being held in the room. You are actually going to see colors and images come through that little hole. So I've chosen a beautiful mountain landscape because that's just the type of person I am. I resonate with mountains over beaches. So imagine that outside of that window was this gorgeous snow-capped mountains, rolling hills, a house I would love to live in. If that was outside, like if you went up and like looked through that little hole and that was outside of your window, all of that imagery would actually come through that little hole, travel through the room, and show up on the other side of the room. And you'll notice that on the left-hand side of the screen, I have the image upside down and backwards, and that's how that image would show up. So the reason that that happens is because light not only travels in a straight line, but it reflects. We don't see anything unless light hits an object and then reflects off that object into our eyes. That's how optics work. That's how our eyes work. That's how we see. That's how light works. So you have this big ball of fire in the sky, the sun. It's illuminating everything in the landscape. And as that sun shines down from the sky and hits those objects, the photons hit the objects and bounce off in every direction. Some of them will bounce into your eyes and allow you to see if you were outdoors. But also there's a little hole in the window. Some of those photons come from the sun, hit the objects, and then travel in a straight line through that hole in the window and continue traveling until it hits that wall. And of course, when it hits the wall, it bounces off again. But with that wall being white in the back there behind the bed, you're able to see the image upside down and backwards. And this is actually some examples of what that would look like. I don't know if those of you that are watching, if you've ever experienced a camera obscura, maybe you've never heard of one at all. And in that case, you may not believe what I'm saying to you at all, because this just seems so absurd and magical, but it's absolutely true. It's something that I would suggest if you've never experienced one, like today, maybe cover all of your windows in tinfoil and cut a little hole and just see what happens, because it's pure magic. These two are by Abe Morel, who is a Cuban-American photographer who I believe is based in Boston. You can visit his webpage if you'd like to see more. He's done a ton of incredible projects based off of camera obscuras, and these ones you can see, they're actually digital photos of what the projection inside of the camera obscura looks like. The camera obscura is not actually a camera. It does not function like a camera. It's just a projection within a dark room. So these are two examples. And you'd also have to believe that, like, let's say the image on the right, if people were walking down the street, you'd actually see them moving. The image on the left, if the wind blew, you'd see the motion in the leaves. So it's really cool. Those are camera obscuras. So if you seal up that box, put some photo paper, or today we could even put film inside of it, light will travel through the hole in the front of the box, just like in the camera obscura, and create an upside down and backwards image in the back of it, where you, as the photographer, would have carefully placed your paper or film, and you can capture an image that way. So the camera is born. The pinhole camera is the simplest form of a camera. And it's so magical in its simplicity. It is a lensless camera made with simple materials. It's just a light-proof box with a tiny hole poked in it. I was actually just told that there's a workshop going on right now at the Experimental Photo Festival where they're making eggs and melons and food into pinhole cameras. Like, you can literally turn anything into a pinhole camera. It just has to be light proof. And one of the cool things about that is that black spray paint actually pretty much makes anything light proof. So you could literally turn anything into a camera. The characteristics are that there is basically infinite depth of field, which is impossible with any other camera. I've chosen this photograph by a former student of mine, Veronique. This is a self-portrait that she took. Do you see those rain droplets on the table she's using as a tripod? Like, literally half of an inch away from the lens, and they're perfectly clear and in focus. She is in focus, probably about 15 feet in front of the camera, and then even the tree is all the way in the background. So that's something that's impossible with other cameras. Because the hole is so small, there's really long exposure times, which creates interesting motion blur in moving objects. So that's another really cool, characteristic. There's no lens distortion, so wide angle photos really remain rectilinear. Those of you that shoot digitally, you may notice some distortion that happens through wide angle lenses. So none of that will happen with a pinhole camera. The possibility for light leaks and crazy light flare is really cool, just because basically you're making a camera out of a piece of garbage. So it's not going to maybe be perfectly light proof. It's just magical, surreal aesthetic. And the possibilities of being experimental just so far surpass SLRs in every way. So pinhole photography, I think is really, really cool. There's some modern inspiration. This is also not a comprehensive list, but these are some artists that when I'm looking for inspiration, I'll go to their web pages, or just everything that I see from them on Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, your work is amazing. So these are just people that are constantly inspiring me. Paul Tomczyk, I love his work. He photographs he does plenty of things, but the work that he does of his children is just so inspiring to me. I love the way that he captures his children. Joe Ditchett is actually Ditch Pinhole on Instagram. He photographs a wide range of subject matter with all different types of cameras. Really beautiful work. Recently, he published a series of these color photographs of his children playing in a stream, and I just fell in love with them. So gorgeous. Helen Hooker, she is in the Lensless podcast Facebook group. She's also on Instagram, but I see her work there often, and every time I see her work, I'm just in love with it. So what is going to determine the camera that you build? Number one, we should think about final outcomes. So do you want your final image to be an analog darkroom print, or do you want it to be a digital print? So maybe think about that first. If you are comfortable with digital prints, which I'm assuming most of you are, I don't know factually, but I believe that most pinhole photographers today actually